Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music Theory Foundations. This episode is a follow-up to my most recent episode on secondary dominants. While it is not necessary to have seen that previous episode, it may help your understanding to watch it first. Today, we will start by looking at a couple of examples of secondary dominants in sheet music, followed by an ear training portion. If you would like to test your ear first, feel free to skip to the timestamp shown on screen. As a quick reminder, secondary dominants are major chords that function as a dominant, meaning 5 chord, for a note besides the tonic of the home key. Secondary dominants will always have at least one note that is outside of the home key. Our first example for today is the old gospel classic Amazing Grace. In the key of G major, our dominant chord is D major, because D is the 5th note of the G major scale. We can see a regular resolution from 5 to 1, or dominant to tonic, right here at the end of the song. Now let's hunt for our secondary dominant. Looking at the sheet music, there is one moment that has a note outside of the key of our song. Right here, there is an A major chord, which has the note C sharp. To check if this is a secondary dominant, we need to look at the relationship between this out-of-key chord and the next chord to see if they have a 5 to 1 relationship. So the chord after A major is D major. We will call this the target chord. If I count up to the 5th note of my D major scale, it is A. So this is a secondary dominant because A major is the 5th chord in D major. Remember, this is a secondary dominant because our home key is G major, so even though we are resolving with a relationship of 5 to 1, because it doesn't resolve to G major, it is a secondary dominant. To help train your ears, let's hear the secondary dominant in action. For a more contemporary example, we will use an excerpt from Billie Eilish's song My Future. Here's the sheet music for the section we are looking at. I will give you 5 seconds to see if you can find the secondary dominant. Remember, look for the chord that uses notes outside of the key signature, and then see if it resolves in a 5 to 1 relationship with the next chord. Feel free to pause the video if you would like more time. Highlighted here is the secondary dominant chord. It uses B flat, which is not one of the notes in our home key of C major. It then resolves to F. If I count up notes in F major to the 5th note, it is C. So C7 to F major is a 5 to 1 relationship, making this a secondary dominant. The remainder of this video will be ear training practice for secondary dominants. I will play 6 chords. Every example will start and end on the 1 chord. There will only be one secondary dominant within the chords. As I have mentioned before, ear training is a particularly difficult part of musical training, so be patient with yourself as you practice listening to these sounds in music. There will be 2 examples. Secondary dominants are a fantastic way to add a little life to your music without moving too far outside of the norm. Practice writing some examples or try and find examples in music that you are practicing. Feel free to leave any questions down in the comments below. If you have a question, it's likely someone else does too. We can all work together to become better musicians. This has been another episode of Music Theory Foundations. Thank you for watching. A like, share, and subscribe are always appreciated. I look forward to working with you to build your skills from the ground up.